Hello, hello. Very good morning, one and all. Is this audible? Hello.
Yes, audible.
I welcome you all, and I welcome you, Sir Dr. B. Ashok, sir. So today, day 2, session 1. I would like to invite our professor, Dr. B. Ashok, as an associate professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Vellore Institute of Technology, Vellore campus, and Sir is going to give this presentation in the title of Research Planning, Paper Writing, and Research Tools with respect to energy system. Before that, I have to highlight this Sir profile. So, Sir having this PhD are completed in automotive control system and postdoctoral fellowship in alternative powertrain calibration. And then Sir having this experience in this research side around 11 years. And then the industry side more than 1.5 years. And Sir have applied the patent is 2. And then the funded projects in the national level, Sir having more than 44 lakhs, and then ongoing international projects around 97 lakhs, and the total amount of ongoing projects around 1 crore 41 lakhs, 41 lakhs. And then Sir having published in this international level in the reputed journal 116 papers, around more than 100. So 116 papers he has published, and total papers in Thomson Reuters around 90 papers, and in the Scopus indexing papers around 115 papers. And then Sir having the cumulative impact factor about 463.2, and then the total citations around 2,788, and H index around 30, and I-10 index 54. And Sir have already published one Elsevier book, and then and the book chapter around 16 in Elsevier as well as Taylor and Francis. And Sir guiding PhD students around presently 6 members, and then doctoral committee members in this 8 is acting as a doctoral committee member in this 8. And then Sir having the teaching experience around 9.5 years, and he already won this award award as 2. And then he presenting this video lecturers in YouTube around 14, and then number of views in YouTube around 18,037. And Sir having Sir organizing the workshop 1. And in this research recognition side, Sir having this top 2% of scientists in the world by the Stanford University of the research team. And then in the research contribution side, Sir professional career as a specialist engineer in vehicle electrical and electronics at Force Motors India Limited, Pune, after his MTech degree. During his tenure, he played a lead role in this implementation of electronic control for BS4 engine and anti-lock braking system in the vehicle portfolio. After the industrial experience, he has joined in automotive department at Vellore Institute of Technology, Vellore, India. During his doctoral research work, he has developed a low-cost virtual sensor for the throttle position sensing application for IC engine using soft computing techniques. So I hope that this session will be more useful to all, because Sir is going to give this presentation about the research planning, paper writing, and the research tool with respect to the energy system. So once again, welcome you all. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Gopal. I'm audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay, thank you. So it's very pleasant to present one of the much needed topic of the current scenario. The academic research is booming up, and everyone have the thrust of publishing paper, getting projects, those things in academic side also getting vigorous. This topic will be much more efficient and useful. And I really thank Dr. Gopal for inviting me to this presentation as a speaker. And it's my privilege to present to in this ATAL FDP session. So comes to the my presentation. I guess I will share the screen. Sir,
Yes, sir. I made a host, sir. You can share.
yes. I guess my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So so the time availability is very short, 1.5 hours only. So I have to cover many aspects. Maybe around 90 slides were there. So I will try to cover quickly as much as possible. So comes to the research and research tools with respect to energy system. But maybe as I had confined towards energy system, but I'm just discussing in a general perspective only. It is not only relevant towards the energy related aspects, but of course, this research planning, paper writing, and tools used can be extended towards the any other overall engineering or science applications. So, entering into the topic. So these are all some my profile highlights. I guess already Dr. Gopal has explained in a very well manner. So to just to give a glimpse, I had both international and national projects. The international project is running with UK universities and corresponding industries, and similarly some projects are running with Malaysia and Vietnam universities. And comes to the publication, already Dr. Gopal has explained about my credentials. So in order to save the time, I will directly move towards the presentation. So my postdoctoral research is in the aspect of powertrain calibration and as well as the what you call for hybrid and as well as electric vehicle development. And my current area of other research works has been in the aspects of development of fixed wheel engine, development of control for electric scooter and for a passenger electric passenger car application, and similarly related to the aspects of automotive electronics. So, so why the in this workshop outline, I want to say so here why the what is the purpose of research in academics. So while we were studying maybe 10 years back or 15 years back, at the time research is not that much a very big perspective in case of academic related areas. Only the research has been carried in India, I'm saying, not on in India, but of course across the globe already the research has been penetrated in the academic sector, especially in the especially in the what do you call undergraduate education and the postgraduate and as well as the research studies. So this workshop will discuss why research in the academics, how the manuscript has to be prepared, article structure, how we have to structure the article, what is the article structure, how to select a journal, what will happen in a review and editorial process, and how to address the review comments, and maybe the project preparation and funding agencies that I may not cover because due to the time restriction. So of course, why research is needed. So research refers to the searching of some new things or searching of some new knowledge. So basically, why we need to do the research. So mainly to develop the livelihood of the welfare of the human being. It will be applicable towards their day-to-day life or any aspects, starting from aspects of mechanical engineering. Aspects will be supported humans. So not only the humans, of course, the welfare of the entire environment, to safeguard the environment. So all these things, new technology developments, everything will be arised with the help of the new technological oriented research. So research means a scientific and a systematic search. We need to go in a proper way. So that's a proper what I call path we need to travel. So of course, it is a scientific investigation of any problems in front of you, any whatever the problems which is available. So in those way, we can able to say that what we called research we have to do it. So of course, see basically what is the outcome of this research. See, if you will see in case of academic point of view, this research mostly will be doing for what I call publishing a paper, and because of those papers we will get a good credentials and we will apply for the funded projects and we'll got the project proposals and all those things. But of course, this all should end up with some societal need, or you can say this all should end up with satisfying the society demand. So that also needs to be what you call taken care while doing the research aspects. So why we need to do in the academics mainly? So of course we need to this fill the gap between the industry and the academic side. So of course, any product development or any final usage of any what you call technologies will be finally developed by the industries. So we are preparing the manpower to the industries, the well-equipped manpower. So that skills of the manpower, whatever we are preparing, so it should meet up with the industry requirement and industry demand. So in order to meet up with the industry demand and requirement, we need to follow the works or the system which is followed in the industry in the academics also. For example, if we are preparing a student for the electric vehicle development, means he or she should know the process of EV development from the academic itself, from the undergraduate studies itself. Then only they can able to develop their skill and they can directly adapt towards the working environment in the industry. So by means of doing the academic research in effective manner, we can able to fill the gap between the academic side and the what you called industry. So that is the major difference between what you call European countries like German, France. So they might be having their own research centers, very big research centers. They will able to have the better state of art facilities, and they can able to develop the better product from the state of art facilities. So once we can able to think about the research aspects, then only we can able to what you called go for the what you call development of the state of art facilities, and because of that you can able to get a good research outcomes, and thereby you can get a better international linkages, and of course by means of that you can get a external staff through that linkages, and you also can able to update the knowledge. At present, what is the knowledge required, or at present what is the what you called what technology is used in the system. So all those things you can able to get it, and of course this will all finally end up in a better skilled manpower or a skilled students as the output. So if we can able to produce the skilled manpower as the output, obviously we can able to get a better placements or the better life towards the students, and there will automatically it will increase the growth of the academics. So it will form as a closed loop. So in order to make ultimately, if you will see why the research in academics means mainly to address these requirements, to upskill the manpower or the engineering, not only the engineering, any students which is studying in the undergraduate or a postgraduate or research programs. So we need to provide a better skilled manpower. So how we can able to provide a better skilled manpower student means we should be in a position to carry the what we call research and development activities in the system. So once you can able to proceed with the better research, thereby you can able to provide a better students as the output. So by means of the industry partner, if you can able to do the better research, you can able to get a better industry partnership. Thereby, you can get R&D, research and development funding, industrial R&D, consultancy opportunity for students, or as well as the faculties, technology transfer, and entrepreneurial opportunities. And they similarly, we can involve the industries from the what they called curriculum development, and as well as the what they called we can able to adapt them as the adjunct faculty also from the industries. So these are all the certain what you call advantages, and thereby you can able to end up in a what you called international collaborations. So international experts. So where we are lagging in some areas, we can able to extract the input from the industrial, or you can say the international universities, because they are having a well connected industry and academic segment. So we can able to match up the skills. So similarly, exchange of knowledge from and expertise to the university community, globalization and internalization. We can attract some foreign students, foreign professors, so that are also possible with we can able to end up in a very good research points. So what is research ultimately? So dreaming something in a what I call technical aspect, sometimes in a non-technical aspect also. Not all the research should be in a technical aspect. Sometimes ultimately your research should what I call end up with solving some problem to the or end up in a giving a solution to the some problem. So the problem may be anything. Okay, so dream, we have to think and we have to apply the thinking, and finally we need to delivery, and you can end up with a proper discovery of a particular product or a process, or reducing the time or improving the efficiency or anything. So and another important thing is that not all the research should end up in a publication. Of course, this publication is important for academics sake. See, in the research itself, we can able to classify it as a two types also. This is in my perspective, like academic research and industrial research. See, if you see in case of academic research, we are more prone to publication, funded projects, patents, and all those things. But if you see in case of industrial research, they are not worried about the what you call publications or projects, all those things. They may worried, or they may their research is focused towards the cost reduction of product development, or patent of a particular product development. So finally, their research will end up in a what you called monetary benefit, like selling a component or selling a process or selling a product. But in academic research, till now, we our focus is somewhat different. So we are mainly focused towards the publication, and as well as what you call project proposal writing, like those things. So still, even though we have our academics, Indian academics has started to do to the research effectively, but still there is a lot of gap in this also. So we need to cope up, or we need to carry the research with respect to the industry research. So our research and industry research has to match. Uh, i- like I'm saying, if you take in case of how we can match means, see, finally the industry research is ending up in a development of a product. So like that way, our research also should end up in a development of a product or a process. So that may able to help the society, livelihoods of the human beings, or not all the environmental species. So we need to very much clear in doing the research once the outcome. See whether we are doing in form of a academic point of view or in an industrial point of view. So that is the important aspect. So how we can able to follow, which pattern we can able to follow while doing the research. For example, either you can able to start a new what you called problem, or you can end up in a, say the already existing work, whatever it has been done. So those already existing work you can able to extend it. So that also you can sorry, carry forward. So either a new innovation, or it can be the extension of the previous work. So either of these two things can be what you called done in case of the what you called research. If you will see the what you call extension of the previous work, either again the extending the seniors works, or doing the new problem with the existing experimental setup or existing model, like that also it can be done. So the next one is the most required aspects, which as academic scientists we need to know: the research paper. So how to start up, or how we can able to convert all our efforts of research outcomes into the papers, or what needs to be done, or how it needs to be done. Those things we need to what you called clearly go through it, or clearly we need to plan it. So a research paper is taking and combining the information you find by doing the research or your own ideas. So whatever the own research you have done, or whatever the project outcomes you have done, maybe it is a BTech project, or it may be a design project, or a final year project, or whatever the thing, or if it is a PhD project. So how we can able to convert into a paper? So for that, the proper planning. Okay, for that you need to uh, do the proper planning, and the expected outcome you have to set before the what you called started to doing the work, or started to carry the project work. So ultimately a research paper is like a report, not like a general report, like a BTech thesis report, or any project report. But of course, it should have the certain what you called protocols, and certain frame, or you can say certain structure we need to follow while writing the what you called research paper. So before you write, you can use any previously published books, or articles, or internet sources, and by means of those informations gathered, you can use for that what you called topic finalization. So whatever the informations you gather, it can be very well utilized for the converting into the paper. So if you will see in a research, that even especially the academic research or industrial research, whatever the research, so the finally it is not only end up in a publication. Okay, so sometimes it will be just end up in a report, or sometimes it is a starting point for the next project proposal, or sometimes it is just for merely to award the degree. So like that, if you will see the scientific writings, it can be classified into many types. Like the very first one is a research article or a research paper. Okay, so research article or research paper, it means that that particular article will coin a problem, and that problem will be addressed in a systematic manner. And because of that systematic manner addressing, it should provides the uh, results. So whatever the problem you have coined in the beginning of the article, so that will be answered at the end. So that is the what you called one of the important aspect of the research article. But if you will see the review paper or perspectives, review perspectives, it is nothing but in the review paper itself there are different types. Will be there, like critical review, or a comprehensive review. There, these two are the major types, like mini review, short communication, that are also there. But the most widely followed types of the review papers are these two types only. One is the critical review, and another one is a comprehensive review. So if you'll take in case of comprehensive review, it is just a summary or the consultation of the what you called the papers which is published in the particular area. But whereas if you take in case of a critical review, it means that the collation of all those articles and critically analyzed. and a collation of those articles, and it will be critically analyzed the perspectives of the particular topic or the area whichever you have been focused. And similarly, the book chapters or books, of course, the book, it will start from the very much basics. Okay, the research paper or a review paper, it will be directly end up in the or directly it will start from the what they called the advanced level of discussion. But whereas the books or the book chapters will be started from the very much basics. So the very much basics in the sense it may be the what they called basic topic, basics about the topic of the discussion on the particular area. And, but whereas in case of a research paper or a review paper, the discussion will be started from the what we call the particular area in an advanced way. So other scientific writings like critics of the other papers, research reports, technical notes, research projects. So these are the other types of the scientific writing which is followed in the academic research perspective. Similarly, patent, case studies for particular cases, discussion of the thesis. Of course, this is everyone knows. So, what is the personal reason for publishing? Why we need to publish? There are a lot of reasons will be associated with the paper publication. So, without publishing, what will happen? By means of publication, what is happening? See, many people are doing research, but all the people are not publishing their research. And whether it is a mandatory one to publish, the question may arise. Some people may be publishing and some people may not be publishing. So what is the reason behind the publishing? So the mainly academic peer pressure or getting promotion for getting for PhD, that is a mandatory. As per UGC norms, some publication is required. So there is some reason behind every actions. That even especially fear publishing means we are doing for the certain aspects. So of course, someone mainly doing for the patient for doing the research, but whatever the reason, whether you are doing for a PhD degree or a funding or a promotion or any other reason, whether you have a patient, so that at all merely the reason for publishing for yourself. But editor of a particular journal, they will not take take care about all those aspects. Whether whether you by means of publishing this paper, your PhD degree will be awarded. No, they are not concerned about this. Their concern is how to improve the quality of their journal. If a paper is published in their journal, whether that has the better future scope that will be used by others. Of course, when we are publishing, whether that will be useful to others, that is the main important aspect. Useful in the sense how the paper has been sold or how the paper has been used by others. So mainly how many people are referring, or from that any particular research paper they are finding a new problem and that will be useful to society or something, or the gap which is you left out in a particular paper can be filled by others and that can be useful to the society or at least useful to the academic community or anything. At least in editor point of view, whether his journal will get a better impact. So better if they will publish your paper, that it will end up in a good citations or not. It can able to provide a better citation or not. So these are all the aspects the editor will look. He will not take care about uh, your personal what you called aspects of publishing in the system. So always keep in mind that once your paper is published, it's a permanent record of your research, and it is a passport to your research community. So this is very, very important. So sometimes while I'm saying this means maybe in a particular year, because of getting promotion or some performance incentive or any other personal reasons or academic reasons, we will publish some what I call junk journals, publish in some junk journal papers. But even though if you publish in a junk journal papers, that will be act as a what you call the permanent record in your research profile or in your research portfolio. So while publishing the paper, we should be very much cautious in taking the decision. Some low level or some kind of report sort of thing, or not in a proper research way the methodology is followed. So those kind of papers we should be avoided. So if the personal experience what I have faced, maybe in my beginning of my career I have published one paper in some local journal, paid journal. But at the time, without knowing or unknowing or knowing the seriousness of that, I had published it. But still, that will be in my what you call research profile. So that will what you call ultimately have the not in a better reputation. So we have to keep in mind that while publishing, we have to be very much taken care about the what work we are publishing. So why, first of all, why we need to publish in the journal? What is the reason behind it? So of course, as I have already told you, graduation, sometimes requirement, recognition by your peers, promotions, or further grant application for the international contact, or improving your profile. Because of that profile, you may get a better industrial support or industrial connectivity, better collaboration, make your research public, and of course, you will update your knowledge. Okay, what kind of research has been, or what kind of technology development has been happening in the society at present. So these all aspects you may able to get once you are publishing, and if it has to reach the appropriate audience, that is also another important aspect. So what are the key elements in publishing? So what are the key factors which needs to be considered while publishing? The very first one is ethical issue. We need to follow the proper ethics. The research should be our own. It should not be the copied version or the extended version of others' work. Whatever the aspects which is included in a paper, starting from abstract to the end of the reference, everything should be on our own. At least it should not directly copy it from exactly from the other works. So that ethical issues we need to properly follow it. And of course, the proper style and language of the particular journal, the structure, or you can say the organization of the paper, or you can say the components or the table of content of the paper. This needs to be uh, properly justified while what you call giving the publication. So this is another important aspect. So the paper should be in a proper what you called order. So which has to be followed. 1 second. Sorry. Okay, some network problem. Okay, so basically the what are the key elements which needs to be considered? So like articles, submission, journal selections, which journal we are going to publish, publisher process, what kind of papers they are accepting, what is their stream of publication, whether the area will be fit into it. So all this process we need to taken care. So what kind of contents can be published? Anything, whatever you feel what the results accompanied with the results which can able to give appropriate solution to the problem which you have found, which is being followed in a proper methodology, that can be published. It is a new and original results or methods that advances the knowledge and understanding in this certain scientific field which you have chosen. In any scientific field, whatever you have chosen, maybe if you take in case of energy aspects, alternate fuels, or the energy storage application, or the battery related application. So for example, now lithium ion battery has the safety aspects of lithium ion battery has to be improved further while using for the what you call EV application. So if you can able to develop a solution to address this problem, and you have verified effectively in a proper methodology way, that can be published. So reviews or summaries of particular subject also can be done. What cannot be published? Results with lack of scientific interest, outdated work. For example, now if you publish a papers related towards the two-stroke engine or floppy disks, like that outdated work, it will not what we call it sell, or sell in the sense it will not. It is difficult to publish those work. So it is better to avoid those kind of what we call. Of course, those are all outdated. Means we have to do the research and we have to improve the aspect. But it is already outdated due to the certain aspects. Means we can't able to improve the aspect simply for a publication alone. It won't be what you call supported. So along more important is that you need a strong manuscript to present your contribution to the scientific community. What is that strong manuscript? So there is any strong manuscript and weak manuscript. So what it means is strong manuscript. A strong manuscript means you should have a good content. See, for example, most of the papers, sometimes what are the papers I'm taking for review? Simply they will plot the results and they will not explain. Just 50 words or 100 words, just they have explained. So results means you have to explain in a very wide manner. So that is the main thing. So that's what good content. So if a good research paper means, definitely it should consist of some minimum 6 to 8 sections or maximum of 10 sections. So each section should have some one or minimum 2 subsections, and each figure which needs to be explained at least for 250 to 300 words with proper finding and reasoning. Main importantly, see, for example, if you are drawing a curve and you are explaining about the curve, just increasing, decreasing, or it is varied, like that alone we should not write. What is the reason, technical reason behind it? So that's what the scientific finding. The proper scientific finding, are the scientific results of the content has to be explained. And more importantly, the quantum of work means, for example, instead of just varying two parameters A and B, if you can able to vary some 6 to 8 parameters depending upon the requirement, or number of iterations can be increased. So that indicates the quantum of work. Quantum of work means it is not the number of pages or number of words. So you should not get confused, like 8,000 word and 20,000 word is a quantum of work. I am not only saying the quantum and quality and quantum of the work. So how effectively you can able to what I call compare the many results in a single graph. So quantum of work means, not, you don't think that we have to plot to 25 graphs or 25 figures like that. It's not like that. See, 5 figures plotted, 5 figure information can be plotted in one figure. That indicates the quantum of work. So like that way, you have to give more information, some exciting message, and you have to explain in a some what I called novel way. The way of writing is more important. It is not like that the English has to be very much sophisticated or like that at all. See, it should be in a correct English. So it is not necessary that it should be in a very high-fi English like that at all. So it should be in a correct English. So, and next one is the good presentation. So the way the graphs or the figures or the tables, it should be drawn or represented clearly and logically constructed. So these are the certain requirements. Similarly, reviewers and editors are able to grasp the scientific significance easily. So no reviewer or only the reviewer is only reading. Maybe sometimes the reviewer is reading full paper. Sometimes they may just go through the glimpse. So by go through in the glimpse itself, they may able to take the decision. So the way we have written, the plotted, the graphs, the presentation is should be very much appropriate and exciting. And editors and reviewers are all busy scientists, make things easy to save their time. So what they will do, they will just run through the thing. So within the first shot of run through itself, we need to convince them. That is a important requirement. So writing the manuscript. So once you have taken the results or you have done some scientific work, in front of you, lot of things may be there, maybe in Excel file or in some form of coding or in some of pictorial representation from the MATLAB or any kind of software tools. So how with those things, how we can able to start the paper? How where I can start the paper? So that is the hardest part. So should I start from the abstract, or should I start from the conclusion, or should I start from first drawing the graphs? So how I can start the paper? So that is the main question which is raised in front of everyone. So how to get started? So do you have any new idea or initiative? Think about why you want to publish. There is a completed project. Is it new and interesting? Is it a current hot topic? Solution to some difficult problems? Ready to publish it all the times? So if you have answer for all these things, then you can start writing the paper. And sometimes already the existing work, by adding some masalas, like some existing movies, by changing the screenplay and those things, they are again taking the like what do you call it? Research paper is also like a movie. So it should be interesting, and the reader should not get bored. Mainly while publishing the what do you call it, films, their concern is about collections, isn't it? In the same way, if a paper is published, the editor concern is about the proper citations or proper utilization of the document by the what do you call it, other researchers across the scientific community. So if the research topic is trendy and new, definitely others will read your paper. If you will write a paper in a proper and it published in a good journal, definitely that paper will be referred by others. So you have to choose the topic, or if you have to choose the topic of the publication by matching all these things. I guess some. So these are all the certain aspects which needs to be what you called taken care while publishing the paper. So generally everyone knows the general structure of the paper, isn't it? So a paper means it consists of a title, abstract, keywords, and end up with the reference. So out of this, from where I need to start? Out of this, from where I need to start? So that is the important thing. So whether should I start the what you call the title, or should I start from the abstract, or should I start from the main text? So from where I have to start? So that it can be answered from this slide. You can see. So you have to start from the your data and figures and tables. That is the results and discussion. So whatever the data you have. So basically, once if you are planning to publish a paper, you have completed your experimental work or a simulation work or a code generation or whatever the works you have related to that particular project, you may be having the completed data, isn't it? So once you have that data, so first take that data and start discussing about it. So first we need to start with the results and discussion. And once the results and discussion is built, or before results and discussion, you can start from the materials and methods also, because materials and methods in the sense what kind of materials you have involved, what is the property of the materials, or the specification tables, or the what methodology you have followed. Okay, so and once you have built it upon your content, then you can go to the introduction, and then or afterwards you can finally conclude, and finally you need to write the abstract. But basically what everyone is doing, the very first content they will start to write is the abstract. So that is not a right way to start a what you call any paper. So the abstract has to be written the last, or the last before the last should be the title. Okay, so we need to go in this order. So content with presentation. So you can ask what is meant by content and what is meant by presentation. So the content in the sense whether it is a novel content, whether it is a good quantum of work, whether you have compared many parameters. So like that, that is the content, and how you have presented. So that is the another aspect. So both are important. See, nowadays in the first some papers you can able to see there will be nothing much information, or what you called novelty may not be properly justified or reflected. But even though it may got published, so maybe it may be due to the better what you called presentation skills. So the presentation is also the important thing. So the content means contains clear, useful, and exciting scientific message. Okay, so that exciting scientific message can be what you called properly justified or properly explained with a good what you called content. So that's what we'll say there. Whether what you called whether we need to concentrate on content or we need to concentrate on presentation. Both are important. So if one fails, also another will lift the another what you called it. Like I will say both have the 50-50. So presentation is that conveys the author's thought in a logical manner that such that the readers arrives at some same conclusion as the author. So the another important aspect is that this is the thumb rule what I will follow or I will instruct my scholars to do while writing a paper. While writing a paper, you should write the paper in reader point of view. Okay, while writing the paper, you need to write the paper in reader point of view. Reader point of view means you are writing the paper to not for you, maybe for your guide or for editor or for a reviewer, for some third person. So for not for you, you are writing, isn't it? So whatever you are thinking, the same way the third person will not think. Okay, so which means that you have to write the paper in a reader point of view. So you after writing you should think you yourself a reader, and whether they can able to understand this context or not, whether they can able to understand this figure or not. So like that you have to think in that manner. And another important aspect is that while reading any paper for literature survey, read that paper sometimes in a writing writer point of view. But as a reader, you are reading, you have to read the paper in a writer point of view. Why I am saying this means, so in some papers they may have drawn a better graphs, some better figures, some better way of research outcome they have mentioned. So how they may done, how they have drawn this, which tool they have used, which facility they have used, which simulation they have followed. So like that, in a writer point of view, you need to read the paper. So this is the difference for approaching in a different manner. So while writing a paper, you need to write the paper in a reader point of view. While reading the paper, you need to read the paper in a writer point of view. So start with the very first one is the title. Okay, so a good paper should have the title with in the range of 12 to 16 or 18 words. 12 to 18 words is the appropriate words count limited for the title. So in the title, you need to very much clearly keep the keywords, whatever you are trying to emphasize. And another important thing is that while writing the title and the abstract, you should take care the what you call the um, proper keywords, the proper words you are using. I'm not saying the keywords, the words whatever you are using in the title and the abstract should be trendy one. So then only whoever is searching the papers in search engine, your paper will come first. And once your paper will come first, or in what you called in the ranking, so there they may see your paper and they can cite your paper like that. So the words which is you are selecting, or which is you are using for the title and abstract, should be more trendy enough, and more you should avoid the what you called abbreviations, the what you called the wide abbreviations. The wide accepted abbreviations can be used, like for example IC engine, SI engine, like that. In the what you called in the area, whoever is working in engines, they know about IC engine or SI. But you should not use some unknown abbreviations in the title or abstract. It has to be avoided. So a good title should be short, and catchy titles are better cited. So the catchy title means how it can make better catchy titles. So you can able to go with the what you call the trendy keywords has to be used. And of course, the next one is the abstract. So the abstract, in some journals they are expecting 150 words, some journals will expect 200. But generally, a good abstract means it will be in the range of 250 to 300 words. A good abstract means it will be in the range of 250 to 300 words, or restrict up to 250 words. So what are the things it can be included in the abstract? So abstract is a concise explanation of your work. So first beginning, you can about the general context. So why this work is needed, and what you give the reader about the narrow down about the general context. And next, what is the gap in that context, and how you are going to fill that gap, that is your objective. And how you are going to attain the objective, that is the methodology. And results, the numerical results preferably. So if you will see about 100 words or 100 to 125 words, or 50% of the abstract should focus on the what you called results. So result section, you need to give more emphasis in it. And more importantly, what is the novelty? So the novelty also has to be clearly explained in the what you called abstract. So how it is this paper is different from the other existing papers? Maybe whatever the area we are working, already many papers might be published. But even though we are working, and definitely there is some novelty is there in our papers, then only we will go for the publication. So that novelty has to be clearly defined and identified. You have to identify your novelty, and it has to be clearly quoted and mentioned. So the reader or the reviewer or the editor, they have to find out that there is some scope of novelty is there. You have to convince them. the quality of an abstract will strongly influence the editor's decision. Not only the editor's decision, because all the papers will not be access to the readers freely. Only the abstract is only accessible. Abstract and title should be accessible to the all the readers, isn't it? So in that case, we need to write the abstract in a better convincing way. So this things similarly, what has done, how you have done, what are the main findings. So this three things has to be answered appropriately in your abstract. And some as cases, nowadays you may able to see they are trying to ask for the graphical abstract. So drawing the graphical abstract is not that much tedious task. Simply you can use some 2-3 tools like Google search, image search, mainly image search, okay, and paint software. Okay, this abstract at all, it is done in the paint only. See, this particular image is taken from the Google image for a particular process or a product, and connecting in a overall process which is explaining your work. So in a graphic abstract also, what are all things has to be mentioned means what is your work, how you have done results, same thing. So in a graphical way you need to explain. So nowadays there is certain tools also used, like eDrawMax is one of the important tool. eDrawMax is a good software. You can able to draw the good graphical illustrations. So by means of combining paint, the paint software, Google image, eDrawMax, this kind of graphics are taken from the Microsoft insert shapes. So by means of using those tools also, you can draw the graphical abstract. And of course the keyword, while selecting the keyword, you have to very careful, and you have to spend some time, because why preferably 5 to 6 keywords are needed for the current scenario. So because depending upon these keywords only, again as I said earlier, your paper will appear on top in the search engine. So the effective keywords has to be selected. And again, too narrow down keyword you should not use, because some some kind of words which known to your lab or your level of community or your level of student community things alone, you should not choose it should be wide enough towards the across the research community you want to choose. And the next main aspect is the introduction. Okay, so here I am explaining the papers, whatever the word content I am saying, so that will end up in a 8,000 word limit. Okay, if you will follow my tricks or whatever the content I am saying, you can, a good research paper means you should end up with the 8,000 words. A review paper means you should end up with the 10,000 words of minimum 16 to 18 or not more than 20 illustrations. In a research paper, it is good to restrict with 10 to 14 or 16 itself maximum. So 10 to 14 illustrations with supported by some 3-4 tables like that. So this place where the introduction, so here the word limit you can follow is around 1,200 to 400 or not more than 1,400 words is good enough. So here you can able to segregate this introduction into 4 paragraphs. 4 paragraphs. So the first paragraph will be the general context. What is the problem? Are there is any existing solutions? What is the main limitation which is best? So like the general context of the work has to be explained. So in the general context only, we need to explain this introduction only. In the second paragraph, you can start up with the what you called say focused towards your work, or focused towards your topic. So that is about around say I told you about 1200 to 1400. So you can equally split into the what you called the 4 paragraphs. So the paragraph 3 and 4 will be the what you called literature survey. So based on the literature survey, further you can able to what you called provide the literature gap. So for that purpose, you may explain about the what you called literature survey. So generally, if you will see this introduction has to follow the 1200 to 1400 words only. So that is a good way of writing the what you called introduction. So try to avoid any tables and figures in the section, but generalized figures can be drawn, but it is not advisable to draw any tables or figures in the section. But nothing wrong in drawing the what I called tables or the figures in this section. So it can be drawn, but it is not advisable or needed. Citing relevant literature is an important requirement in this what you called section. So minimum some 15 to 20 reference you can use it. So that is another important requirement in the this section. So like this way, from too much general discussion towards the too much, then you have to narrow down towards your topic. So that is the what I called requirement in this section. So you have to explain in a general way. The paragraph 1 is in general way about the introduction, and paragraph 2 is about specific towards your what I call context about to your work. Similarly, paragraph 3 and 4, as I said, it is about what we called the literature survey. It may be the author-specific literature survey. What is going to be author-specific literature survey means it is about specific towards a particular paper. Some 8 to 10 papers or 12 papers, not more than 12 papers. You should explain. So within that limit only, you need to explain. So that is another important aspect in this what you call literature survey explanation. So minimum 8 papers to the what you called 12 papers you can able to explain in this section. So maybe in some cases you can go with the chapter 5, so paragraph 5 also about the literature gap. So what I will suggest, this paragraph 5 can be moved into a separate section. It will be good. Just introduction has to give the overview manner, not in depth. So that is the major requirement of the writing the introduction. So if you will see, this is very much important, which we were lagging. In many papers, I am seeing this paragraph 5, or you can say the last paragraph of the introduction. Definitely, you should spend some 300 to 350 words. What you can write means, what is the gap? Because previous paragraph we have written about the literature survey in a specific manner. So not only concluding that 8 or 10 papers, concluding the general literature gap, what is the inference you have got from the literature? So this literature gap is a question. Okay, it is a question. You are saying a gap in this thing. So that gap will be filled by your objective. So there may be many gaps there, and you no need to mention all the gaps. You no need to mention all the gaps. You may able to mention the gaps which supports your objective. Okay, so that will be good. And how you are going to attain that objective in a slight manner, not full methodology, and mainly the novelty and the uniqueness, or why this paper has to be published. So that has to be strongly reflected in the final paragraph of the introduction, or this paragraph you can write as a separate section also, like motivation and objective of the present research work or this paper, like that. This section should strongly emphasize, this is your ultimate selling point of your paper. So this is the ultimate selling point of your paper. So a reader, why he has to read, or as a editor, why he has to publish, or as a reviewer, why he has to accept, what is the novelty, what is the significance. See, if you are publishing this paper, what will happen to the scientific community? If it is not published, what will happen? In a slight manner, like that way, the this is the strongest selling point. You can able to sell your paper, so you should give major focus towards. I have mentioned 350 words, even you can able to go up to 450 words also. So how you can able to write the literature survey, this author specific literature survey. So in the literature survey, you can able to make a table also, that is also good. You can use a separate section as, or as a part of introduction also. You can use a separate section also, so like section 2 as a literature survey. Provide a sufficient information. Why we are writing this means, provide a sufficient background information to help the readers to evaluate your work. Use 8 to 10 papers can be included in this section as author specific citations. So like Ashok et al. Published this so and so. Select some recent papers. Don't use the papers which is what you called published some 15-20 years back at all. So select the recent papers, last 5-year papers. So that is another important requirement. Selects the papers which is closely related to your work. Each paper can be explained up to 100 words, not more than that. That is also a bigger one. So what can be explained in the each and every paper? What they have done, how they have done, mainly important findings, which should support your results also. Which should support your results also. So you have to concentrate on that aspect also. So not necessarily you have to explain about the methodology, but in some cases you can write what they have done, how they have done, the important findings. You can use this kind of keywords. Ashok et al. Reported, studied, used, presented, like this. The 25 keywords can be used. Ashok et al. Measured, investigated, examined, utilized, employed. So for each and every paper, you can change the. You're going to write for 8 papers or 10 papers means you can change this. And the motivation objective, as I told you, either it may be last paragraph of the introduction or separate section, which is very, very important. This is the ultimate your selling point. This section has to answer how your paper is novel and what is novel, about 300 to 350 or 400 words. Either it can be part of introduction or a separate section, like novelty and objective of the present work, or motivation objective of the present work. Following points has to be included: literature gap, objective, novelty. How it should differ from previous studies. Introduction about slightly about methodology. How you are going to attain the set objective. So these are all the questions need to be answered. Next, research methodology or materials and methods. For research methodology itself, nowadays you can able to draw a beautiful flow chart or some schematic flow chart diagram. That also one good thing. So how we have done, for example, if it's a simulation paper, or some guys will be working on this coding development, that at all can be represented in a good graphical represented way. So that too much good attractive graphical representation will give added more value to the paper. So that needs to be followed properly. Here in the research methodology, how the experimental mathematical model you have developed, or theoretical or simulation used, so all those things. Methodology and experimental section, a flowchart which explain the methodology in case of algorithms, design, simulation, analysis related papers. For experimentals, schematic diagram, preferably color along with photographic. See, simply some juggling photography or professional photographic representation of the experimental setup is needed. See, and similarly, in the after drawing the photo, taking the photographs. In the photographs, you can able to what you called, I guess, yes. See, simply see here already it is written. See here you can able to see here it is not properly routed all those things. So simply taking the photograph and mentioning is not alone sufficient. You can circle it over here and you can explain what is this. So informative photography, you can circle it over here. You can make arrow mark with the different color. Photo over the photograph, you can able to write some information. So that will give the added weightage to the figure. So this is another important thing need to be considered while drawing the experimental setup. Similarly, here you can include, if it is experimental procedure, you can able to include the accuracy of the equipments. Similarly, overall uncertainty study of the experimentation process, those things also can be included. Experimental methodology, this section should explain how the results are obtained, testing conditions, what conditions you have assumed, instrument details, specifications, accuracy, uncertainty, error, all those things, like sample preparation, sample conditioning, what kind of tests you have done. Okay. If it is a simulation, what kind of boundary conditions you have selected, clear photography or line diagram, physical properties. Not this experimental methodology can be not more than 350 to 400 words. Experimental methodology. See, this is a simple example of the paint drawn experimental setup. This is again drawn in paint, but this kind of images at all imported from the Google. So as I told you, use paint software for drawing the figures. Use Google image search engine, export the image to the paint. Also some clip art or shapes icon in the Word exported to paint. So this can be drawn. So some good way of representation is must. Next, the very much important one is the what you call it, results. So that is results and discussion section. While writing the results and discussion section, we need to very much what you call careful, or we need to spend a lot of time, effort in this. This is the driving force. As you can able to see the result. There are a lot of unhidden things will be there, but we are not focused or we are not concentrated on that. Just we are merely focusing only the small things. So there are some unhidden things in each and every graphs or each and every figures. So tell clearly and easy to understand story what you have found. Okay, what you have found in your graphs or results. Minimum 8 to 15 figures results, not exceeding 20. 20 itself is huge. Okay, not more than 18 is good in a result section. Figures and tables are most efficient way to present results. Your data are the driving force of the paper. So therefore, illustrations are very much critical. The captions of the figures and tables should contain sufficient information to make the figures self-explanatory. So this is what, for example, see here the figure is simply what do you call it, mentioned. But here you can able to see this circle, and you can able to see this is a tip, and here this is the visible region. This is the invisible region. In the inside the invisible region also the partially separated. Like that, you can able to put an arrow mark and you can able to write something over the figure itself. Self-explanatory, and the figures. Then only the figure should be more informative. That is another important thing. No duplication of the results in the text or the other illustrations. appearance is very much important of the figures where you have drawn. For example, as I said, appearance, the same figure which is this is drawn in Excel and this is drawn using the Origin software. See the appearance of this figure and this figure. Both are same. Both are same x-axis, y-axis, and number of parameters and everything. Maybe MATLAB also you can use, or some proper tools which used for drawing the what do you call it, figures or the graphs has to be followed or used. So use Origin software for better presentation, more options and tools, and more importantly, try to save all the figures in TIFF format rather than the JPEG. Scales should be clear and uniform for all the plots. So what are the results? So the main findings listed in association with the methods. So highlights the finding that differ from other findings in previous publication and unexpected findings. Statistical analysis, results of performance analysis, a set of principal equation or theorem. So these are all the points can be included in the results. For example, see simply if you will see as compared to the LPO E1 and E2 or compared to this green and orange, the green shows better kinematic viscosity in this thing. This can be explained by a 4th standard student or a 5th standard student. But why this is higher than this? What is the scientific reason behind it? So as much scientific reason we need to do for each and every interpretation of the graphs. That is very, very important thing that only we are lagging. Okay, so simply interpreting the graph is not alone sufficient. Providing the proper inference, supporting scientific information to the interpretation is very, very important. So this is what in the results and discussion, where you need to concentrate. Just I'm concluding, like it is, you should not just interpreting the graphs is not important, not only important, providing the proper scientific inference to the interpretation is very, very important. More information has to be given for each graph. So for example, if you plotting 8 graphs means already the number of graphs are less, so you need to give more write up to the figures, maybe 400 words or 500 words. If you are plotting some 16 figure means you can restrict up to 250 to 300 words, like. So discussion part, what do the results means? This is very much important. How here you get a chance to sell your data. Many manuscripts are rejected because of discussion is weak. Results are there, but discussion is weak. See, what is the name of this section? Results and discussion. Simply mentioning results alone is not sufficient. Each graphs or figures should explain at least 300 to 350 words. Rather than inferencing the values in the graphs, include technical reasons for each graph. Behavior in the appropriate manner. Try to find the reasons for the variations in the graph between 2 or more data sets. Explain the variations of the data sets in the uniform manner for all the graphs. So if 4 data sets or 6 data sets were there, try to compare for all the graphs in a uniform manner. Citations can be made if needed to support your results. It is not mandatory, but it can be done if it is good like that. See, not only I have got the results, the similar kind of results also reported in the previous papers. So it will give the added advantage. Nothing wrong in citing, providing the citations in the results and discussion section. At the end of some results, not all the results, some results and author-specific citations to compare the results is preferable. Not necessarily, but gives some support to our findings. So what should we do and what you should not do means, how do your results related to the original question or objective outlined in the introduction section? So whether your results are meeting the discussion or whether the question you have asked in the introduction section. Do you provide interpretations for each and every results you have presented? Or your results are consistent with what other investigators have reported? Or any other differences are there? If it is there, why? Or there is any limitations? Does the discussions logically lead to your conclusion? So these are all the things you have to do it in your research and discussion. What are not or don't do it indicates make statements that go beyond the results can support, suddenly introduce new terms or ideas simply beyond the certain context discussing in the results and discussion section. Whatever you know, whatever you are correct, pinpointly you want to discuss. You should not write it may be or might be, because that is your results. You should be confident in your results. You should not be doubtful in your results and discussion section. This is very, very important. And finally come to the conclusion. So don't just summarize your paper. There is an abstract for that. So a clear conclusions, it may be in a bullet points or it may be in a paragraph. So both are acceptable, but it is good to go with a paragraph. Sometimes it is a bullet points is also sufficient. Merely about 300 to 350 words, beyond the higher number of words is not usable. So your conclusion also start with what is your paper about, start discussion about work and methodology, important results, avoid bold judgments. Like this is, I'm confidently saying this is due to this thing, like that at all. Some confidence judgments at all you should not allow. Don't use uncertain words like might, probably, all those things. And another common mistake what we are doing in the writing the paper is that we will use the words like I have done, I have taken the reading, we have done, they have done. So like those words at all, it has to be avoided. You should not use those things. And another important thing is that try to what we called write the paper if it is in a present tense. Try to use, if you have used the present tense in the beginning, try to use in the present tense. Like my suggestion is that always try to use the present tense rather than the reading was taken, like that at all, you try to avoid it. And of course, for reference, everyone already know about either you can use the Google Scholar, or you can directly go use the Mendeley or EndNote tools. These three are very much fine. If you are going for the review papers more than 100 reference, then it is what you called it is good to use the Mendeley or EndNote software. But less than a good for a research paper, how many reference numbers are good means not more than 35 is a good numbers. So not more than 35 papers is a good numbers. And for a review paper means at least 100 papers is must. So that is another important thing. And try to put last 5-year papers only, but not more than last 10 years. And while mentioning or while writing the reference, you please go through the journal, which journal you are trying to upload. So while writing the paper itself, we should plan. The main importance, while writing the paper itself, we should plan the very first which journal we are going to upload. If it is rejected in that journal one, what is this option 2? What is option 3? And more importantly, you should include minimum 3 or 4 references from the journal where you are going to upload in the reference. So that is the another important thing. Minimum 4 to or 3 to 4 papers which you are planning to upload in a particular journal. So that at least 3 papers in a reference which you are planning to submit. This will attract the what I call editor. So reference styling, punctuation use, spelling, and author names, that are also need to be taken care. And finally, either after the abstract, you can give the abbreviations, or at the end of the reference also you can give the abbreviations. And wherever you are giving the abbreviations, that is fine. But while first time using the abbreviations in the text, you need to explain that. That is the another important thing. And in some papers, what we called, we may have the supplementary materials like quotes, some excess data are there, we can able to give in supplementary materials. It is a secondary importance, but it is not a mandatory one. But it is good if you will have too much data, or there means we can give the supplementary data. That is fine, like sample calculation, error analysis, algorithm, or quotes used, like that also we can able to give. And acknowledgement. So acknowledgement, try to avoid this kind of what you call individual acknowledgement by naming some persons, but it is nothing wrong, you can include. But mainly what I call in the acknowledgement, we are acknowledging the funding agencies, okay, and who are supported for the technical correct what you call aspects things. So I guess I suppose to complete another 40 more slides. Already time is what you called 11:30. So I will complete to what you call plagiarism. Someone has asked about plagiarism. List of tools used. So till submission to journal, I will complete. Maybe review process, all those things at all. Later on, we will see. I will take another 5 to 10 minutes time. So next one is the language. Language is important, very much important, but too much higher language. For example, higher new words that are not necessary. So simple, correct language is sufficient. So key to successful scientific writing to be alert common errors like sentence construction, incorrect tenses, incorrect grammars, spelling mistakes, continuity of the sentence, very important, and the flow of the content. What is that continuity of the sentence? Means one sentence to the another sentence, there should be a link. One paragraph to another paragraph, there should be a link. One section to another section, there should be a link. It should be like a storytelling flow of the content. That's what we'll call as a screenplay, isn't it? In a movie, from one scene to the next scene, there should be a proper link. So we should not confuse the reader or whoever is watching. So the continuity and flow has to be properly maintained throughout the manuscript. You need to properly and justifiably, you need to explain the continuity between one sentence to the another sentence. That is a important one. So what format we can follow while writing the paper? Lot of questions will come. So generally, in some journals, they may give the format. Nowadays, the standard publishers like Elsewhere, Springer et al., there is no general format. Simply, we need to upload as a manuscript separate file, figure file, table file, highlights, cover letter, graphical abstract. So you can follow Times of New Roman 12 for the text, 14 for the heading and subheadings. Line spacing maybe 1.5 or 2 justified. Page right, both left and right, with page number and line numbers. That is sufficient. So total word count. Here I have mentioned 6,000 to 12,000. Maybe a couple of years back it has been this number, but now for last 1 year, in my experience, maybe 8,000 word to 10,000 word only a good thing. If it is a review paper also, if it is a 10,000, it's a good number. Beyond that, there what you call editors are not supporting. Either you can follow this format or manuscript file itself include all the figures and tables embedded in a single file. This is also acceptable. So do everything to make your submission in a success. No one gets right in a first time. Definitely in experience only we will able to get it. If you will see my first paper and my 120th paper, there will be a drastic difference. Okay, so we will learn. So write and rewrite, and if it is rejected also, don't get panic or tensed. Try to improve it, try to address those comments and try in other journals. That is the main thing. Try to get suggestions from others. After writing, first revision takes several days of rest. See, your mind should be in a proper peaceful way. That is another important thing. So then only you can able to give a proper content. Main thing is that ethics in publishing. Multiple submissions you try to avoid. Duplicate publication, duplicate submission. So these all has to be avoided. Plagiarism. Nowadays, almost many institutes are using the Turnitin as checking plagiarism checker. But maybe couple of years or 1 year back or couple of years back, most of the journals they have been used the Turnitin. but now they have started to use the AICTE software. AICTE software is much more stringent. For example, if you get plagiarism of 15% in Turnitin, while checking in AICTE, definitely it will cross 20, or some 5 to 10% will be higher while checking in the AICTE. So which means that while if you have the access to check only the Turnitin, try to restrict your plagiarism less than 5% or less than 10%. That will be a good. So that then only if you will, they will put an AICTE software, it can able to give up to 10%. But generally the journals are allowing, in some journals or most of the journals will not allow more than 10% or 12%, but up to 15% it is acceptable. That even in a single paper, more than 1% is not acceptable. This is about the plagiarism. So for the plagiarism at all, German ministers loses a doctorate after plagiarism row. Hungarian president resigns over the doctorate plagiarism scandal. So this plagiarism scandal will run through our life of the what we call publication or the academic history. So while writing the paper and publishing, please be conscious and please be put some effort and try to avoid the plagiarism. So overall general points, the common mistakes what we are following is that explain the abbreviations, symbols used should be explained, use SI units only, figures should be clearly and legibly drawn, should be illustrated with the text. Each axis should have scale and axis label units, size, convert as image in a TIFF format. Either you can go for a single column format, author, order, and affiliation, corresponding author and email ID. All pages should be numbered. English is not a big worry, but check carefully. Avoid the use of word like we, I, you, they, like that. So these are the certain tools. Word, preferably you can go with the Word, Origin for drawing diagrams, Paint for drawing some schematic figures. And another tool is that the eDraw Max. eDraw Max is one of the tool nowadays. It comes with a template which can able to what you call you can draw some good graphical illustrations. So Web of Science, Grammarly, Turnitin, or AICTE, any online plagiarism. So these are all the certain tools which can be used for the writing and publications. So I will stop at this point. Maybe another what you called 30 slides were there, but I could not able to complete all those things due to the time restriction. Maybe I have one more session on Thursday. I will slightly touch this and I will move to the next one. So any doubt you can what you called either contact me through my mail or you can ask now also. So I'm just what you called posting my mail ID. You can use this for future contact. My mobile number also I'm typing. You can use this. So any doubt you can ask. Now session is open to discussion.
Thank you, Dr. Ashok sir. It was a very nice and very useful presentation. That too for the PhD research scholars who are pursuing their PhD. This was really in time presentation, I can say. So request participants, if you have any doubts or any queries, please unmute yourself and go ahead with the questions.
Dr. Ashok, very good presentation. I am just only asking. I am Jain of, I was a R&D from Bosch diesel fuel injection equipment. Very good guidelines for people today where there is a lot of support and faculty development courses are to be intensified. You have given a very good view, and only faculty members should also try to take these inputs and share to the student when they are doing a presentation during internship, project presentations and all. At least somebody should try to sum up, because I have seen lot of presentations, project presentation, there are short of a lot of advices what Dr. Ashok has given. Very nice, Dr. Ashok. Very nice
Thank-
presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
This is where people should also learn right from the students' thing, because there is a lot of opportunity for people to write papers right from their project work itself. Thank you, Ashok. You are basically from automotive division.
Yes, sir. I'm basically from automotive, and my background is from mechatronics along with automotive.
Very nice, Mr. Ashok. I'll get connected. I'll attend your Thursday session also.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Sir. Thank you.
R&D from Bosch, Bangalore.
Sure,
I
sir.
was
Sure.
the development of fuel injection system for both petrol and diesel engines. I had a lot of connections with OE customers.
Sure, sir. We will meet, sir. We will
You,
connect.
where have you shared your email ID and phone number?
Yes, sir. I have shared in the chat box.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you can. If anyone is needed, you can contact. Even this session is more important to all students, not only students, for some even faculties also. So we can connect any kind of other FDPs to your students or faculties also. You're most welcome. So any doubts or any other thing, you can contact me or call me.
Sure, sir. Participants, any more clarifications?
I have not seen your this telephone number, Dr.
Sir,
Ashok.
yes, sir. After my mail ID, I can tell you, sir, 98654 677
9854 677.
29. 98654 677
Can you repeat 98?
98654
Okay.
677
Thank you, Ashok.
Thank you, sir. So some has asked about copyright issue is there while using Google image. If you will directly use the full image, there will be copyright issue will be there. So if you will use a part of image, there will be not a copyright issue. If you will write something and if you will merge two images, there will be not a bigger copyright issue will be there. So if you will use the same as it is, definitely there will be a copyright issue will be there. So you can use the bits and pieces of information from one image. I hope I have answered that question.
Any other queries? Okay, so there's one more question. If we have published paper, can we add some more points and go for patent?
Published paper, you can add some more points and we can able to go for a patent. So that which patent you are planning, again, that is what do you call it, important. But again, nowadays the patent is also just a number. Again, they are saying, see, patent is important in industry perspective, but of course in academic also they are saying, but how much again it is getting revenue and all those things also nowadays they are checking. So my advice is that if you are planning to publish a patent, then it is try to avoid the publishing the paper. So finally it will end up in a mesh.
Okay. Any more queries? Right. Sir, if there is any queries, definitely we will collect it from the students and participants, and we will share it to you. Thank you for the wonderful session, Ashok sir.
Thank you, sir.
Definitely waiting for one more session. This is
Yeah.
scheduled on 18th of November.
Yeah, I have completed only 60 slides in this presentation.
Yes.
Maybe I will
Actually, in
start
fact, we
from.
were planning to ask like on 18th you have anyway. So can you
Yeah,
just give us
I
some
will.
on this and again go for the next one? But
Yeah,
you-
sure. I will continue from this, and I will end up in the another new presentation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. Sir.
Thank
for
you
your
all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
participants. Feedback link and the details are already given in the chat box. So request all of you to please take the screenshot and upload it in the Google form. And your next session, there is a break. Your next session probably in another 15 minutes will start. Probably at 12 o'clock we'll start the next session. Link will be there like this itself. Will not close. Will not end the meeting. So you can just take your time.